Chapter 3. Everything had changed. The rain continued to pour down as Videl watched her husband from a window on the second floor of her house. The garbage man was there, and Gohan had one last bag for him. Wait, garbage man actually come out to Mount Paozu? Actually, now that I think about it. She looked on as her husband tried down their walkway, covering himself with his jacket. The thunderstorm outside was growing, but she hadn't focused on that. Instead, she was focused on the small black bag he was carrying. It was the same bag she had seen earlier that morning. When Gohan got to the end of the walkway, he handed it over the bag, and it was immediately tossed in with the rest of the trash. It was that simple. Seeing the bag disappear amongst the other garbage weighed heavy on her. She looked away from the window. Everything really had changed. As she heard the truck go off into the distance, she went over to the bed Gohan and her shared. Anxiously, she sat down and tried hard to think about how she was going to approach her husband. Clearly he was suffering, but hadn't directly expressed any emotion over it. He was keeping it hidden. She had been going over and over in her head what she wanted to say. The most important thing she wanted to know was that she was there for him. She didn't want him to suffer alone. Since the end of the tournament less than a week ago, Gohan had been acting different, but would not talk about it. She wanted to confront him, but ultimately kept putting it off because either the timing wasn't right or she simply couldn't get the words out. However, it was when she saw him throw away that bag she knew she had waited long enough. She knew she wasn't going to get another chance like this. With Pan having a sleepover at Braz, it was now or never. By the time Gohan opened the door, Videl made her way downstairs. Gohan, we need to talk, she said with a serious face. Her husband closed the door behind him, muffling the sound of the intense rainfall outside. About what? He was trying to ignore the serious tone Videl had just taken with him. I know what was in the bag. Poor Icarus. I know how you've been feeling this past week, she responded. And he no longer tried to hide it. Gohan looked his wife directly in the eyes and with a weak voice asked, And? Gohan, this is serious. What's going on? Videl cried out. She was upset and scared for him. He stood in silence for a moment. I'm done with him. The Demi-Saiyan replied straightforwardly. I don't want to have anything to do with him anymore. He constantly made decisions that have negative effects on his family. And this time I won't brush it off. Yeah, like letting Cell live. Oh wait, that was you. I won't ignore it like anyone else. I won't let him do to Pan the same thing he did to me. His voice was beginning to break, and he turned away from her. His voice was beginning to break. Pussy! Videl's expression changed to sympathy. She was truly worried about him. Gohan, why have you talked to me about this? Why have you been keeping all this in? Gohan kept his face turned and shut his eyes. Tears were starting to... Oh my god! He's crying! He's freaking crying! Gohan, if you want me to respect you, maybe you shouldn't start crying like this. Does baby want a baba? Does he want that bitch of a mother? I didn't want you to get involved. I'm your wife. I'm supposed to be involved. Besides, what are you expecting to happen when he comes back? She asked. If he comes back, Gohan mumbled. What? Videl had not heard him. Gohan opened his eyes and turned to his wife. I said if he comes back! He yelled, startling her. He did not mean to scare her, but he was finally releasing the emotions that had been pent up inside him. Emotions that went well back past the first week. I'm sorry I yelled, but I can't tell you how many times I asked myself, when is he coming back? When I was first trained with Piccolo. What? When was he coming back? You knew he was dead at the time! You knew he was gone! Why would you be asking yourself, when is he coming back? I'm surprised Piccolo didn't bitch slap you and go, didn't you hear what I just said? Your father's dead, kid! He's not coming back! I'm surprised you even had time to start asking, When is he coming back? When you're first training with Piccolo? For 6 months, you were on your own. You knew what was going to happen. I was a scared 4-year-old boy. Didn't understand what was going on. Yes, you did. You were also a 4-year-old boy that had made a dinosaur his bitch. Well, that instance was not his fault. I found myself asking the same thing when we found out he was still alive after the battle with Frieza, and in no way tried to establish contact with us. Also, to be fair, you guys didn't try your best to establish contact with him. I mean, the universe is a small place in Dragon Ball. I continued to ask that again and again every time he was gone. Now I don't care. He could be back tomorrow, or he could be back 10 years from now. All I know is I don't want him to hurt me or my family again. If he ever comes back, he is to stay far away from us as possible. His ki was rapidly accelerating because of his emotional state. He was angry about his father, and angry about his past. We did not need ellipses there, Ryder. We did not need ellipses! More than anything, he was hurt. Again, ki sets. Go! Are you really going to cut him out of your life like that? He's hurt you this much that you need to talk to him about it. Videl was trying to calm him down, but remained stern. You think he would listen? All he's ever cared about is fighting, seeking out a greater challenge. Everything else comes second. Throughout my entire life, I've gone with his direction and stood by his decisions. But now I've had enough. I won't do this anymore. Finally, Gohan's errands had reached a point where it caught the attention of his brother at the adjacent house. Goten had been studying when he felt a sharp increase in his brother's ki. Something was right. Without hesitation, he dropped his pencil and ran out the door. Chi-Chi, who was making breakfast, watched her son go off at amazing speed in the harsh rain. Goten! She shouted, but her voice did not reach him. She runs to the doorway and saw Wei was heading towards Gohan's house. Worried, she followed him. The Nemi Saiyan barged into his brother's house, where he saw wiping his eyes, his sister-in-law looking tense. What's going on? He asked with concern. Gohan, I felt your ki. What's going on? Gohan turned away from his brother, confused. Goten looked at Videl for answers. Gohan, she said gently as she approached her husband, you need to talk this out. She placed a hand on his shoulder. I'm sure you're not the only one who's upset. Videl then looked at Goten, who in turn became more confused. He took a few steps towards him. Hey, what's happening? What are you upset over? Videl looked at her husband as if to reassure him he needed to speak up. Dad. Gohan finally replied. Just then, Chi-Chi entered the house. She was soaked from the rain and out of breath. Goten! She howled. What are you doing? What's going on? Gohan looked up at his brother and mother. I can't forgive him this time. The tears had stopped and his tone was unwavering. I'm done with him. I put everything in a bag and threw it away. Earlier that same day. Gohan, do you need help with anything? Videl asked as she stood in the doorway, her nightgown still on. Hey now! It was 5 a.m. and her husband had woken up and started to rummage through the things in the other room. No, I'm just going through some old stuff before the garbage man gets here today. Ken, are we sure that the garbage man would even come up all that way up the mountain? Always said we could use a little more space. He said as he gave her a half smile. She yawned and stretched as she started to turn back towards her bed. Okay, let me know if you need anything. Okay. In reply, he started continuing his rummaging. Videl had started to close the door and left it lightly ajar. She had meant to go straight back to bed, but something suddenly caught her eye. Quietly, she peered into the room through a small door to get a better look. There, in the dim light, was her husband holding up his orange and blue ki for when he fought Buu. Ah! I see where this is going. The Nemi Saiyan looked over the old uniform. It had been mended after the fight, so many years ago, and appeared as good as new. He felt the fabric and closed his eyes as he reminisced of when he got it for Capito. He wanted an outfit just like his dad's before heading out to fight Buu. He wanted to be just like his father and make him proud. That was then. Times have changed. Now Gohan couldn't stand the thought of his father. The gi held in his hand stood for a long time when he trusted someone. Someone who he loved. Someone who just ended up causing pain! He traced the stitching around the neckline in both hands, came to the center. Then in an instant, he ripped the outfit at the seams. Well, I think you did that, Gohan, less than because of your memories of Goku, and more because it came from Kibito, and who wants any crap from that loser? That's Kaioshin, not Grand Kai. Oh, I'm sorry. Who wants anything from that loser? That's better. Thank you. Videl let out an audible gasp. He stuffed the rhythm closely into the bag as he continued to rummage through the door. It wasn't long before he came across what he was looking for. A photo album. He flipped through the pages. Videl could barely make out the pictures. Gohan eventually stopped at one page and took out a photo. The picture had been taken during the 2015 Tenkaichi Budokai tournament, when Goku had come back after 7 years of absence. It was the first picture of them together after the Cell Games. Videl caught a glimpse of the photo as he held it in for himself. This was all he needed, though, because he knew that picture well. After all, he had taken it. Really? I don't Wait a minute. How did Goku even manage to appear in that photo, considering he is... I mean, is that technically a ghost, or a... When did you have time to take that photo, Videl? You weren't even anywhere near there. Wouldn't it make more sense for Chi-Chi to have taken it? After a brief pause, Gohan crumpled up the picture in his hand and placed it in the bag with his gi. Hey, you think Chi-Chi might want it? Oh, wait, I'm sorry. Chi-Chi only wants pictures of her sons. Creepy, if you ask me! He then proceeded to take out every picture of his father in the entire album and throw it in the bag. You might want to give those photos to your mom. The more pictures he took out, the angrier and more violent he got towards them, until he tossed the last photo and sat there heaving from the emotional exhaustion. You know, this sounds a lot less like a guy who's upset with his dad, and more like a jilted lover. Videl could no longer stand to look. She was too nervous to go in and confront him. It wasn't that he was afraid of him, or afraid for him, and didn't want to make him feel worse. After all, what could she say? What could she say? Instead, she just went back to bed, while he continued to clear the house lazy to remind him of his father. Even though at that moment, all logic was telling her to go to him. She just lay there in bed, frozen. All of a sudden, she heard a noise outside that caused her to go out of trance. She turned up and looked up the water drop that landed against the window. It was starting to rain. Spush! Well, that was pretty short. Let's do another chapter. A family issue! With the four members in the Gohan and Fidel's living room, there was a brief discussion on the topic at hand. However, it was soon decided to best move the conversation to the Sun House, where breakfast had already been started prepared. It didn't take long before they were sitting down at the kitchen table to partake in some of Chi-Chi's home-cooked meals. Before sitting down herself, Chi-Chi cracked open a window to let some heat out of the kitchen. The pitter-patter rain outside filled the room as they ate their meal in silence. Considering that Goten is very, very much a house Saiyan, nobody quite knew what to say given the sensitivity of the topic. Eventually, it was Gohan who spoke first. He's made his choice. Now I have to live with the consequences. You're acting like this is going to be a big deal. Then again, considering how often you guys actually meet each other, I mean, hell, I'm surprised Goten and Trunks still have a friendship. Considering how often they actually, get together. Staring at his cup of tea, he remained fixated on it, fearing that if he faced his mother, he would see hurt in her eyes. Gohan, Chi-Chi feels nothing. I'm sorry if anyone has any objection to this, but I'm done with him. Gohan looked to his mother, who remained silent, then turned to his brother. Gohan, this is Dad we're talking about here. Don't you think this is a little extreme? He said. Gohan looked down. Goten, look what he does to this family. He left us for 7 years. In response to a mass murderer being created to kill you. Also, who was responsible for that? Leaving Mom with 2 children to take care of. That was your fault, Gohan. You held back fighting Cell. You could have gone all out. But no! You just had to torture him, didn't you? Then he comes back, expects everything to be okay, only to leave again. This would be fine if he was on his own, but he has a family. His actions are unacceptable, and I had enough. When he left with Oob to train, and I've already hammered this point home enough, but, Fly! Sense key, fly, pick up home, go! He's had a clear business. He's unwilling to change and unwilling to take any responsibility. Some of our friends may be used to this, but I'm still not, and Pan certainly isn't. Seeing my daughter cry like that, it looked like she got over it pretty dang quick, was too much for me. I won't let him hurt my family like he hurt me. I won't let Pan suffer like I did. And, what's Pan's opinion on this? What's Videl's opinion on this? Or do you care and you're just being a smothering asshole? Titi, who had been focusing only on the food in front of her because he was deep in thought, looked up at her son when he said this. She had never known he felt this way, and that word, suffer. It was a strong word to use. Even though she never knew how her son felt. Deep down, she always wondered how his father's absence had affected him and his younger brother. Well, it seemed like Goten's too dumb to care. Now it was finally being discussed. Some of her worst fears were coming true. Go on, she said in an ear whisper. Fick, TT only has 2 volumes, and Whisper ain't one of them. I'm sorry. I didn't know you felt this way. Both of you. I am so sorry. No, you're not. She had turned to Goten to show him that she understood if he was upset too. She didn't want him hiding emotions. Mom, you don't need to apologize. It's... Goten tried to respond, but was cut off by his mother. Yes, I do. You see, I've always known your father was like this. When we were younger, he was always off on some adventure dedicated to his training. Yeah. Because he was a very adventurous, very hard training person. You were trying to tie him down. But, I do believe there's a problem here. He hardly stayed in one place very long, but that was something that attracted me to him. When we got married, I thought he would settle down. Uh-oh. You folks might want to run. Trixie thinks Legendbringer's about to let loose. You're an idiot, TT! You're a freaking moron! An imbecile! An old bat who is stuck in the 50s way of thinking that women stay in their house and men go out work in the fields. Because I'm a dainty widow woman who shouldn't be working. Wait, I can't cook and clean all by myself. I got dishpan hands. Oh, won't some big strong man help me? Blink, blink, blink. You are one of the most pathetic pieces of slime I've ever seen in any anime. You are like the worst type of mother character I've ever seen in an anime in my whole entire fucking life. I thought he would settle down. So you loved Goku because he was trained and he's strong, but somehow you thought, oh, he would settle down. So you loved him for training, but you wanted him to settle down. I don't know whether that's hypocrisy or that just shows how much of an idiot you are. Look, if you knew he loved to train, if you know he loved to fight, then help him out! Train with him! Go out with him! Do some weightlifting! Do some katas! That's a great way to build up a trust and a nice, healthy relationship! Not, he should settle down. No! Put that stupid 50s ways of thinking up in the closet and shoot it where it belongs! if you loved that. Oh, and guess what? This is the 80s. Get with the times, bitch! You're fully free to train with him. And that's another thing. You used to be a martial artist. Fine. Learn to fly. Videl can fight. She knows how to fly. Apparently it's not something that people can't do. So why not get off your fat 1950s little bitty I can't do anything ass and learn to fly and fight. Wheels against me. Apparently, you were willing to train Goten, but you're not willing to work with your freaking husband, you no good, dirty pansy waste! Fuck you, Chi-Chi! You do know marriage is a partnership, right? Or did they just not teach that? Oh wait, I'm sorry, you're stuck in the 50s. And before anybody tries to say anything about Japan in this was okay. This was old even by Japan standards. Oh yeah, I'm saying it. Why? Because Gunbuster had plenty of girls who were willing to still fight even after they got married. Sayaka was still willing to fight, even though of her connection with Koji. And, oh yeah, Jun Hono, just recently, even though she was pregnant, was willing to pilot her Zord to go out and save her husband. So, no, Chi-Chi is a freaking outlier and a no-good, slimy wimp! And if everybody could treat her like the martial artist she is, maybe she could grow a freaking backbone! But no, she's lazy! Moving on! It then became so confusing after your uncle arrived. Things seemed to spiral out of control after that. Chi-Chi's voice was beginning to break. She realized that Gohan's life had been a very hard one, and that Goten's had been not too much easier. Everything that had happened to her family had been so unfair. Oh, boo-hoo! I'm not feeling any type of sympathy for you, bitch! Videl, who was sitting next to her, placed her hand on her mother-in-law's hand. Chi-Chi, grow up. I mean, I didn't have a mom either, but you don't see me going, wah, all the time. You know what I do with Gohan? I train with him. I work together with him. I actually gaze at his likes. Not, i.e., not you. I know why you let me marry Gohan. I'm the trophy wife! Oh, you still are a great mom. No, she isn't! Suffocating women are not great mothers! You wanna know who's a great mother? My mom, who's currently working out right now. She teaches me to go through my dreams. She actually works out with me. She actually helps me do this type of thing. Chi-Chi is not a great anime mother. She's not even a good anime mother. She's not even a good representation of anime females. She is a hateful, worthless pile of trash. She's a one-joke, one-note, static, boring-ass character. And no amount of trying to think and trying to go, well, I understand her, is going to fix that. She has and always will be a one-joke character, because that's all Toriyama wanted her to be. There's no trying to think over her. There's no inner depth to her. She isn't a One Piece character, she's not a Naruto character, and she's sure as hell not a Rurouni Kenshin character. She is just Chi-Chi. Static and bland. The bitch looked at Videl and smiled. She turned her hand so was sternly grasping Videl's. Those words helped lift her from the undeserved guilt she was feeling. Oh, you deserve all the guilt, Chi-Chi. You deserve all of it. Of course, she was very thankful for support and comfort her daughter-in-law provided. Besides, Gohan spoke. Nothing was your fault. During my childhood, and Goten's as well, we all made choices. Like our friends, I made a choice to fight in the battles that I did because I wanted to protect others. So, a lot of it was your fault. All I've ever wanted was peace to be with my family. But even after the battle was won, it was Goku who made the choice to continue fighting and ignore his family. So, you're not going to train? Everyone looked down. It was the first time he ever referred to his father by name. There was a moment of silence. Gohan, Goten said, trying to cut the tension. I'm upset too. However, I think we should talk to him about this. He was careful to use the word father and dad, given his brother's usage of the word Goku. Videl looked at her husband. When she asked that same question earlier, he had become very emotional. He was worried about how he was going to respond this time. Gohan took a deep sigh and asked, Do you really think he can listen? Mom said it herself. This is the way he is. I know you're going to give him a chance to make some kind of promise, because I know he'll break it. He has chances in the past. Besides, this is about me. This is about my family. Samir changed an even more serious tone before adding, I'll do what I must to protect Pan. Are you? Or are you sheltering her? More silence. While everyone was thinking what to say next and how to further handle the situation, lightning filled the room as thunder clashed out. Oh my god! Dramatic lightning much? The storm was getting more intense as the... Oh god! Dude! Tone it down! What gets me is that this fic was ranked highly with the Dragon Ball Z crowd. A few drops of rain made their way to the open window, landing on the back of Gohan's neck. Then Saiyan turned slightly towards the window so his voice was clearer. The storm's getting pretty bad. We're about to close the window. You should come inside, Piccolo. Everyone looked so confused and saw through the window. Through the pouring rain, Goten could make out a figure perched in a tree about 40 meters away. As it descended, it came closer. The figure proved to be Namekian. About 15 minutes ago, Piccolo had been in a nearby area when he felt Gohan's ki accelerate. By the time he arrived, everyone was sitting down at the kitchen table in the Sun House. Rather than disturb him, he decided to listen in. When Gohan announced his presence, Piccolo jerked upright. He thought he'd been suppressing his ki enough, but obviously his former student had noticed. By the time Gohan finished closing and locking the window, Piccolo walked to the front door. Piccolo! Goten greeted. Piccolo gave him a nod and green and faced Gohan. It didn't take long for Gohan to figure out what his mentor had stayed in a nearby area since he arrived back from the Tensei Budokai. When his ki had risen during his conversation with Videl, only reached to a point where not everybody would have noticed, only those close by. A million things were going through their minds as he tried to figure out what the other knew. Eventually, Piccolo said what he truly felt. I'm sorry, Gohan. Me too, he responded. Gohan! Chi-Chi stood up. Doesn't have to be this way. You have every right to be mad, but I don't want to see this happen. I know your father's a good man. Please, when he comes back, just talk to him. A few tears started to make down her way to her cheek as he clutched her napkin ready to catch them. Gohan turned to his mother. Seeing her crying was incredibly hard for him. Not for me, I'm loving it! The last thing he wanted to do was hurt her. He looked down at the floor and closed his eyes as he started to cry too. Oh, look, little baby, gonna cry. I'm sorry. I just don't think I can. Gohan! Goten shouted. His brother looked his way. Most were running high at this point in the conversation. It was taking its toll on everyone. While the young Demi-Saiyan looked stoic, inside he was scared that he was witnessing a major fracture in his family. Listen, I'm angry too. He should be here. It's not right he just left us. But I remember how you used to tell me stories of when I was young. You would tell me all about the adventures you guys had, and how great a person he was. These stories missed me once I knew who he was. When he came back, I no longer had to rely on them for comfort. Instead, I got something I cherished every day since then. I may be angry right now, but I don't want to be absent of my life forever. I know deep down inside you feel the same way. Gohan was silent. Seeing how heavily this was affecting his family caused him great sorrow. On the one hand, there was no way he could open himself again to getting hurt. There was also Pan to think about. He had to protect her from going through what he went through. Oh my god. You are smothering her, aren't you? His mind continued to race as he became deeply torn what to do. Seemed like no matter what, someone was going to get hurt. But Videl and Piccolo felt the eternal strife loom.
You can't let just see you up, go on.
Piccolo commented. He's right. Videl added as he stood by her husband's side. If you won't do this for you, do it for your family. Give your father a chance to see his granddaughter again. And Pan's feeling hurt right now. Do you honestly feel when you tell her she can never see him again? The input he was getting from those in the room can't dissuade his decision. As more tears came down Gohan's face, he took a pause before slowly nodding confirmation that he would meet the request. Disagreement gave the Sun family some relief. Videl gave him a hug. They embraced for a few seconds before he broke away and faced her. But there's something I need you to do. He then turned to Piccolo. I need you to train me. What? Goten, Titi, and Videl said in unison. Gohan explained. I need to prove to him that he doesn't need to search for someone who will take care of the Earth. I can show him that there are people right here who can and will protect the planet. He's been doing that! He has been trying to do that! He left the world in your care, Gohan, but you fucked it up! If you had just started using this enthusiasm years ago, he wouldn't need to. But guess what? You fucked it up, you laid back, you did absolutely jack shit to keep up training, so thus Goku had to find somebody else. Goten and Trunks, they fucked it up because they were being too childish and too stupid to learn how to fight. So once again, Goku had to step in. Goku couldn't rely on his friends because they're a bunch of lazy jerks who just go, who needs to train, right? I mean, sure, you can train for about an hour or so and to keep up your skills, but nah, let Goku do it. Who cares about training, am I right? So no, they fucked it up too. Like, the only one who doesn't fuck it up is Vegeta, because he actually has a fucking brain. The rest of you guys are just so lazy that I'm surprised you're not fat and overweight and just going, "Dai, I'm gonna let Goku do everything." Do you know why I love My Hero Academia so damn much? Part of it is that it shows what happens when you put all your eggs in one basket and put all your faith onto just one guy. Everybody put all their faith into All Might to being the great hero that'll save us all, and guess what? The world went to shit because of it! That's what's going around here! He needs to learn that training does not mean he has to abandon his family. I'll train around my family time. Not in place of it. No. It took you this long to figure it out? Do you think that maybe if you actually showed you could do this in the first place, we wouldn't need Oob? Maybe if you did this beforehand, you could have done this. Did you really need this to actually spur your lazy ass into existence? Time for me to take action, accept responsibility comes with my power. That's what you can show me. I need to work to protect those around me. I can't take things for granted anymore. Again, Goku's been trying to do this, but you guys all just suck at this! Piccolo looked at his former pupil's eyes. The intensity showed him his commitment to his goal. Namekian understood why. His personality was good-natured and pure, but concentrated when it needed to be. It was the same human hybrid that made Gohan this way. This was something he felt he needed to do for himself and his family. Piccolo smirked.
Agreed.